While our state leaders and medical experts continue their work, we know you are continuing your work to try to find some normalcy. Coronavirus is forcing change in our lives in many ways, and that's why we're here answering your questions tonight. You'll get a chance to ask your questions. Text them to the number on your screen, 214-977-6028. Please include your first name and the city you're messaging from. We'll get to as many as we can tonight. For business owners, their employees, and their customers, it has been especially tough. For the next 10 minutes, we'll be talking to experts and answering your questions about the impact COVID-19 is having on business and the economy. The first quarter of the year is done, and for the stock markets, it was the worst quarter since the financial crisis in 2008. As markets surge, small business owners try to stay afloat.
Our customer counts have dramatically declined. Way fewer customers per day per store.
But help is on the way.
Within 3 weeks, we'll have direct deposit into people's accounts.
As airlines park their planes, President Trump considers whether he needs to limit domestic flights. When will the U.S. economy bounce back? Let's meet our guest to talk about the economy. Our first guest is a familiar face. You've seen him on Shark Tank, and he owns the Dallas Mavericks. He also has one of the best business minds in America. Welcome, Mark Cuban.
Thank you.
And we're also glad to welcome Philip Kendall, who's a vice president for the financial services company, Charles Schwab.
Hello.
Well, there are different economic forecasts being discussed, ranging from a sharp decline followed by a quick bounce back. Others say it will be a very slow recovery. Is there anything about the Texas economy which will help it rebound faster or stronger? Mark Cuban, let's start with you.
I think we're well positioned. If there's going to be a strong rebound quickly, Texas will probably lead the way. We have so many businesses here. So many have come here. We've got a dynamic economy up until this point. I mean, if you're going to be in any state in the union, Texas is probably the best positioned.
Well, of all the industries threatened by the coronavirus, none has been impacted as deeply and immediately as the hospitality industry. The Texas Restaurant Association says 1.4 million Texans work in this industry. Now, there is money in the stimulus package to help restaurants, bars, and hotels. Philip, how will this work?
Well, the stimulus package includes a $300 billion grant to small business, and the restaurant business definitely falls in that category. Roughly 90% of restaurants have fewer than 50 employees, so they would definitely benefit from this stimulus. It's going to come in the form of zero-interest loans, and these are provided by the federal government, and many of them can be forgiven. The loans then can be used to bridge the loss of income and revenue while your patronage is down to these restaurants. But the crucial caveat for many of these loans will be that it's going to be used primarily to pay employee compensation. And in the restaurant business, that also includes the loss of cash tip income. So companies that can keep their employees on payroll for about 8 weeks or so, that's what we're advising, that they'll be eligible for many of these loan forgivenesses. And I think guidance has been said that many of these loans will be made available ultimately through FDIC lending institutions and credit unions, from what I understand.
Thank you, Philip. Well, while many businesses have had to shut their doors due to the coronavirus, some businesses are booming. Mark Cuban, where would you tell people to go look for jobs?
I mean, check in your neighborhood first to see what businesses are doing well. It's just crazy which ones are and aren't. I mean, if you're selling toilet paper, obviously, if you're selling things that you keep in your pantry, those types of companies are going to do well. Grocery stores are going to do well. And what I would recommend to people is don't look for the perfect job. Don't look for the perfect career. Things are evolving so quickly, and there's so much change and uncertainty that I would just go get the job that presents itself and then be a free agent when your time comes. Again, there's so much uncertainty. There's no way you're going to just go out there and find the perfect job.
And Mark, what advice would you have for small businesses here in Texas?
I'll echo what Philip said. The loans that he was referring to, the payroll protection plan, they go online at midnight tonight. And so for any small business owner, go to your bank's website, go to SBA.gov, download and fill out the form immediately. And then the minute, if you can apply online with your bank, do it at midnight tonight. If you can't, call them in the morning, having the form already filled out. The beautiful thing about it is, as long as you have under 500 employees, you're going to be eligible. And I wholeheartedly recommend that every single small business owner and entrepreneur, and also even if you're an independent contractor, you drive for Lyft or what you work as a creative, as a contractor, go and apply. That's what this is designed to do. And to Philip's point, if you retain your employees for those 8 weeks, you get you don't have to pay it back. You get to just keep that money. So it's a unique opportunity. You have to take advantage of it.
All right, thank you. Philip, in what business sectors do you anticipate the return to normal will be the fastest, and what will take the longest?
Well, that's a great question. I'd love to hear Mark's take on that. But, I think, just for
we'll follow up with him.
Yeah, personally, I think, companies that are investing in virtual technology and ways to communicate and connect people virtually, that certainly is an area that I think probably is right now going to come full force. Companies that are embracing digital technology, for example, filling out forms online, digital signature applications that we can do on a more virtual basis. I think that would be very, very much of a fast-growing industry. Manufacturing is a question. Is there going to be pent-up demand once people are able to get out of their homes and get back engaged in society? Construction, perhaps, if you think about construction and government infrastructure, if they're going to focus a lot of programs on getting the economy back that way, perhaps that would be an area that would be quickly turning around.
And Mark, how about you? What do you see there?
I don't know, but I don't know what businesses are going to be the best, but what I do know is that there's going to be a lot of unique businesses that are created, and most, if not a lot of them at least, will come from Texas. When we get through this, the past was America 1.0. We're going through this horrible reset, and we're going to evolve on the other side into America 2.0. And there'll be unique entrepreneurs that create companies so that 5-10 years from now, we'll look back and say, these 15 companies were created that just changed the world. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you have an idea, a vision for what it'll be like after this reset, go out there and start that company. Be innovative, be creative, because there will be amazing companies that come out of this, and there's no reason why it can't be you.
What encouraging words, Mark. It's great to hear that. Now, another industry that was hit hard early, airlines and their employees. What are they facing? Philip.
Well, obviously, it's going to be tough. I mean, I would put it in the same specter as the service industry and even restaurants. I mean, obviously, flights are going way down. International flight, which is a very lucrative part of the airline business, is virtually going to nothing for a while. So I think the impact will be similar. I think if you think about American Airlines and Southwest here locally, the Stimulus Act is actually providing about $25 billion to help the airlines. But again, it's right. A lot of stipulation is on paying the employees, compensation for employees. And, I've also heard that, that American Airlines, for example, and other airlines are repurposing their sideline planes to help bring in supplies from other companies. So maybe they can do different things, repurpose their fleets during this pandemic. So I believe it's going to be tough, but I do think, the strong will survive.
All right, Philip, thank you. Well, we've had viewers texting in questions. Let's go to David Schechter, who has that.
Thanks, Deborah. This question is for Mark. I've heard from a lot of gig workers now who are messaging us, and that business, that whole industry has changed significantly. Do you have advice for people that are doing gig work, how they should think about their own futures?
Well, first, you want to apply for the payroll protection program because it does include independent contractors like gig workers. Second, there are organizations that are setting up work from home. There's an app called Dave, and I'll admit that I'm affiliated with them, an advisor, and they have work from home programs as well. So you're going to go through a tough period of time where you're going to have to lean on the government a little bit, and they'll be there to help you. And I think the state of Texas will also be there to help gig workers. But as we start to come out of this, I think Philip mentioned it earlier, people are going to want to come out of their homes. People are going to feel cooped up. And so I think you'll see a resurgence for the gig economy, but you have to be resilient, you have to be agile, and you have to be ready to jump right back into it the minute things start to open up.
Thanks, Mark. And Philip, people have talked about their 401ks and stocks. We haven't really gotten into that, but stock prices are low. Should people be making moves in their 401ks right now?
Well, it all depends on your situation. Certainly, if you're in a position where you've lost your job and you do not have an income to support your families, you need to do whatever is necessary to generate cash to pay your essential bills, housing, utilities, things along those lines. So if you're in a position where you're still working or you have the means to last for a while, I think it's a good time to reassess your risk tolerance. And certainly our recommendations were the strategies that you put in place. If they're well diversified and you have a good amount of stocks and bonds and mutual funds in a well diversified portfolio, many times the right move is to hang in there and ride this out. So again, it's unique to people's situations, and it really depends on where you are in terms of your ability to kind of make these essential expenses on a day-to-day basis.
Philip, thank you. Mark, thank you. Appreciate you guys joining us. Please keep those questions coming. We're going to send it back to Deborah.